What is a psychedelic experience? Is it real or an illusion? Hallucination or clairvoyance? Am I seeing the true nature of reality, or am I making things up? It's all in my head, but how did it get there?
First of all, I want to clear something up. I don't encourage anyone to do psychedelics. It's definitely not a recreational drug, it's a serious thing. I've seen that it can leave a traumatic impact on you, or you can even drown in your own ego. In fact, you can experience similar or even much more profound altered states of consciousness while being totally sober. Because after all, it's all inside you. An alchemy of chemical compounds, mixing body and brain fluids.
But if you're watching this video, you probably did it already, or your mind is set on doing it.
These days, when psychedelic festivals are booming, it is becoming more common to take them, but many times, people don't realize what just happened, or why they had a bad trip. Trying to explain a psychedelic trip just by own experience is like talking about the complexity of underwater creatures in the whole world just by diving in a few lakes. There is also much scientific research about substances like psilocybin or DMT,
which is great that they are, but it's like describing what a feeling is compared to the actual feeling.
But there is much information that actually can help you understand what is going on while you trip. And what are these geometrical shapes under the lids?
Psychedelics shift your basic awareness of what perception even is. Meditation is a tool. Psychedelics are a different kind of tool for opening up the closed box of awareness. It's the natural evolution of consciousness to expand. There comes a point for many of us as adults where what we don't know feels dangerous, and therefore we stop looking. Psychedelics break that pattern. They break open whatever your system of belief is.
One of the ways that sacred geometry manifests today in art is through people doing psychotropics. So you look at things like the work of Alex Gray that has become very well known and successful. It's basically what he's seeing as what we tend to refer today as the matrix, but essentially it's the sacred geometric grids behind everything in physical creation, the patterns behind it. So you see a combination of energy patterns and the patterns of human physical structure being deconstructed on artwork like that. It's the divine language of all creation. It's literally the language that the angelic beings use to create the physical phenomenal world and to create all worlds. It's literally a articulate language of creation, a language of form, a language of energy, a language of consciousness that creates everything into its manifestation pattern. Biology, chemistry, physics, they're manuals of sacred geometry. They're how are things in the physical world put together as a pattern. So it's actually at its core not woo-woo at all. All modern science is sacred geometry. Now they won't accept that because they think nothing is sacred. Everything is a physical accident. But they'll certainly agree with the measurement part, that we can measure and try to control everything. That's the approach of materialistic science. But if we understand that there is a deeper consciousness and energy behind everything, then it automatically becomes sacred. It's part of a much more important process.
Set and setting.
The most common tip, the most important thing. If it's your first time, I recommend doing it in nature. About noon is the best time so that you could go back on the sunset. Pick a place where no one will bother you, somewhere where you feel safe.
Best to take it with someone trusted, or someone sober who has been on the journey and won't be bringing it down.
Respect.
Treat it with respect, even better as something sacred. Do it as a ceremony.
In many ancient traditions, it has been treated this way.
The more conscious you are before the experience, the easier it will be. As soon as I take it, I treat the situation as though I've entered the sacral space. And in the hour before it comes on, I usually manage to carry out a fairly detailed examination of conscience. I anticipate everything in my personality and world situation that might cause me to have a bad trip. Say, well, you're cutting corners on this, and you really haven't squarely faced that, and so forth and so on. Well, by the time the thing actually comes on, you've usually processed most of this, and then you can just say, okay, now let her rip, But if you hadn't done that in the preceding hour, well, it might be waiting for you there.
Don't take them on a party or with any other drug. This is a straight road to incoherence, resulting in a bad trip.
The negative patterns, the things that prevent you being close to other people, become painfully visible.
One of the ways that psychedelic renaissance, the psychedelics, can be used is they can be used for deconstruction purposes. They take us temporarily out of the immersion in our own hypnotic trance of these lower states. And we say, oh, why am I acting like that? I don't have to have a life like that. I could be something different. And we can start consciously moving it forward.
As to psychedelic festivals, it depends on you. If you are experienced, then probably it's not a question for you. But it can be intimidating, seeing all those people mixing their subtle bodies with different levels of vibration. This is a challenge, but can also be one of a kind.
Psychedelics not used carefully are dangerous. Cars not used carefully are dangerous. Most things not used carefully can be dangerous.
Intention.
Before taking it, set an intention. A theme you'd like to explore, a healing you'd like to take place, a question you'd like to ask. It will always be answered, one way or another. Expect unexpected.
Psychedelics are like road signs, which can show you where you are and where these paths are leading.
But still, you are the one who needs to go down the path afterwards.
Trust the process. Tripping is usually tuning your frequency of the body to much higher vibration than it's used to, so the body usually responds at the beginning. It brings to your attention feelings, thoughts that may not be resonant to that vibration.
My best advice is to surrender and let go. Stop holding the ground at all costs. Consciousness knows the process. It shows you what you need to see at this time.
The problem for psychedelics is because the expansion is so strong, if you have no support or no background or no understanding, it's terrifying. After a psychedelic experience, you are not only more open, but you are questioning very fundamental beliefs that you have had without any particular knowledge.
But don't attach to anything. Remember to stay calm. You can always go back to your neutrality point in your heart and observe the pendulum swings from a higher perspective. And if you'd like to see a psychedelic trip from a first perspective, click here.